SmartTrack is so far the most comprehensive product database that I've seen in the orthobiologics space. Not only is it complete in terms of the number of products out there, but it is also very current and up to date. I love the fact that on a daily basis, in fact this morning alone, I think I saw 6 new updates on that, and I love that because it's really become my one-stop shopping. I can start there and I can eliminate those sort of pointless Google searches or views on competitor websites. Because it's such a crowded and overwhelmingly busy marketplace, we, like probably many other people in industry, had a hard time telling the difference between all these products. I mean, you certainly know what the best sellers are, but you really needed to track the emerging technologies as well. And in order to not only compete effectively, but to understand where the market was going tomorrow, we really had to spend a lot of effort trying to decipher the market. We maintained our own database, which we started at the beginning of 2009. We were maintaining an Excel spreadsheet, and we had numerous Google alerts. We bought a lot of those standard, you know the types of reports I'm talking about. They come out now, and they're based on data 2 years ago, and they're already out of date, and they frequently don't have all the information. And you know, they have a value in the market, but they don't give you the detailed data that you need, nor is it timely. We also subscribed to some of the other data resources out there, and each one brought something to the party, but nothing was fully comprehensive, so we started our own. We had several people working on it, including one person, and it was almost a full-time responsibility. Furthermore, every time we were asked a question or asked information about a product that we didn't happen to have on our list, it required Google searches, it required looking at in competitor websites, it required us going back to the FDA and trying to figure out what the regulatory strategy was. So for each new thing we added, we were probably talking hours and hours of work, not to mention the work needed to maintain it and keep it current. In any organization, SmartTrack could be used not only by the current commercial marketing folks, but it could also be used by the folks who are doing pipeline planning. The SmartTrack product is unique because it not only shows you the products that are currently in the market, but also the products that are in development. And when we went through most recently, we realized there were 189 different bone graft substitutes in there that are currently available and 89 that are in development. Now, even if that's not all, that's just an amazing collection of products. I have it in my favorites, and I open it every morning that I'm office-based, as do many of the folks on my team. And I've actually started running standard reports off of it that I share with other people in the organization. The tool is very simple to use, even for somebody that's not especially computer literate. Plus, it has the added advantage of having download features. So I frequently have downloaded the Product Explorer feature, and then used it to manipulate the data and perhaps combine it with other data I have, which is a very nice benefit that some other more static reports don't have. We subscribed to SmartTrack around April or May of 2010, so 5 or 6 months now, and it has changed our lives. I really do go there first to see, okay, what does SmartTrack have to say about this? And the great thing is, for probably 99% of the things I've tried to look up over the last 5 or 6 months, SmartTrack has almost always had something on that topic that I needed. You know, I might have needed to drill down further, but it was a great place to give me an overview and a starting point. The features of the SmartTrack system that I tend to use most is the search function. I tend to look up either a specific product if I need to know about that, or a specific company if I'm trying to understand what that company is doing. And I like the fact that the product can let me toggle back and forth. The other feature that I use probably most often is the Product Explorer database. And I'll frequently use the sort functions in there, and then I'll also frequently download if I need to integrate the data with other information that I have internally. And I like that flexibility. SmartTrack really doesn't compare. It's an entirely new paradigm of data, at least in the 15 or 20 years that I've been in med device, even across other applications. I haven't really seen a database quite like this because it's very complementary to those other data sources, but it has a lot of advantages. So even where there's overlap, it usually outperforms some of the other ones. What I mean by that is the fact that when you get a static market research report, it's current when it's issued, but it's typically based on data that could be 12 or 18 months old, and it's based on a forecast methodology. Nor does it ever tend to be complete. Those market research reports, while they're very good for their own purposes, do tend to focus on, you know, the most commonly used products. And then when you get one that's focusing on an emerging technology, if you happen to make that type of purchase, it's really only a very limited number. And this year alone, I've purchased a number of those reports and just for fun held them up against some of the data in SmartTrack. And again, the last time I counted, there were 89 products in development in SmartTrack in just the bone graft substitute category alone. And when I looked at some of the other data reports that I've bought, they would list 5 or 6. And they would talk about trends, which is really important, but I was really looking for the more granular data that I get. The other way that the product really differs from sources like IMS and HMS, which are good tools, is it's providing a different type of information. There have been no sources out there that list the products and all their components. And in the world of synthetics and biologics right now, there's so much change there that I really need to understand exactly what products are being added in. Before I was in medical device, I was on Wall Street as an analyst. And when I saw the SmartTrack tool that I'm using from an industry perspective right now, right away I could see the benefit for the VC and investor world. And as I thought about it, when you have a very crowded and confusing marketplace, I thought, oh my gosh, this could also be used by clinicians to help understand the products, and most especially hospital administrators. I can't tell you the number of calls we have been getting over the years at ApaTech to help companies that consult with hospital administrators sort through the myriad of bone graft substitute products out there. So if you're an industry and you think they're confused, think about all the other stakeholders, and each one of them could potentially use SmartTrack. SmartTrack provides click-on links a lot of times, and the one that I tend to use the most is when there's a press release. I'll go directly to the press release, and it tends to be the good press release, like the Business Wire press release or the one that was issued directly by the company, so it usually gives you the full story. And again, that's a really nice feature because it prevents me having to get out of the system, go to a Google page, and retype it in and look it up, which other types of databases might force you to do that. So that's a nice functional tool. We've had some really good dialogue too with the SmartTrack team, and I found them to be really receptive to not only our questions but our suggestions on improving the website. We've had a couple times where we say, hey, would you consider starting to capture this type of data? And we've always received a very positive response. I think another benefit of SmartTrack is the fact that you do get so much information on privately held companies. Look, there's a million analysts out there covering the public companies, and there's no question about what they're doing. They issue a quarterly report and then they have an analyst call. But it's the private companies that are really, really hard to track down what they're doing. And I found that a lot of the information in SmartTrack not only helps make me smarter with respect to what they're doing, but it also helps me understand what they're thinking going forward, and it helps me read the market better. SmartTrack is helpful in the sense that it gives me perspective on what's happening around the world. The technologies are broken out and show regulatory approval status, not only for the US, but for CE marking. It's also helpful to understand what technologies you find abroad when you're thinking about making strategies in the US and vice versa. So I think the international or global aspect of the product can be very valuable to industry. In a way, it's made me smarter faster, and I think if you don't know the market, it can help make you smart in a hurry, and if you do know the market, it can help to fill in those blanks that you might have in your mind. I think the habits that someone would have to establish to really get the most out of SmartTrack is to just use it all the time, and don't forget you have it. Don't have it be, it's not a tool to be put in the closet like a static market research report. It's a tool that needs to be touched and played with every single day in order to get the most out of it. If I had to tell someone to a new SmartTrack user, it's just, lock yourself in a room for 10 minutes and you'll be an expert with it, because it's intuitive, and if you know how to push a button, you can probably figure it out. Oh my gosh, SmartTrack does not compare with any other data resource out there.